Hi, Ben here from Trident Fly Fishing, and today I've got with me the Gray's Tail Fly Reel. This is sort of the mid-range reel in the Gray's lineup, and it's a fantastic option if you're looking for a full cage reel on a budget. Stay tuned. Gray's revamped their entire reel lineup for the 2022 season, and this tail here sits in the middle. On the low end, you've got the fin, which is just sort of an entry-level reel. And on the high end, you've got the high performance for Gray's Title, which is going to be a bigger drag, more high performing reel. But this one here comes in two variations. We've got this reel, which we're going to be reviewing today, which is the 5-weight freshwater version. And they also make an all-water version, which is designed a little bit more for saltwater applications. Right off the bat, you're going to notice that this reel here has some interesting features. Most notably, that it's a full cage reel. If you're wondering what a full cage reel is, it simply means that when you take the spool off, you've got an entirely enclosed area that your fly line and backing will go through. And why would you want a full cage reel, you might ask? Well, they're really handy, especially for Euro nymphing and spay applications, or in this 5-weight, trout spay applications. They're going to keep those really thin diameter Euro leaders and running lines from slipping in between the frame and the spool. And that saves you a lot of time on the water and definitely removes some frustration if it's ever happened to you. I wanted to briefly interrupt this review to let you know that this video is supported 100% by your purchases at Trident Fly Fishing. So if you're in the market for some new tackle, check us out at tridentflyfishing.com. But now, let's get back to the reel and take a look at our 5 factors for determining if this is the right reel for you. Up first is going to be drag, and you've got about 2 turns of adjustability with this drag knob here. It's got a hard stop on the bottom end, but no hard stop on the top end. When you crank that down, this little reel actually puts out quite a bit of drag. I recently reviewed the Lamson Lightspeed F, and I can tell you, this reel definitely has more drag than that. And when you consider that this reel is priced at just over $100, it's got an enormous amount of drag, especially for freshwater. Way more than you'll ever need. And if I had to estimate, I'd say it's probably around 8 pounds. Of course, we didn't put this reel on our universal testing machine, so we won't know for sure, but it's definitely got as much stopping power as you'll ever need. Up next is the spool, and we've got a maximum fillable diameter here of about 3.5 inches. And that pairs really nicely with a super narrow width of about 0.85 inches. No line stacking up on this reel. And last but not least is our arbor size, which comes in at about 2.25 inches. That's going to translate to about 7.8 inches per turn of backing pickup, which is really pretty good for a reel that isn't that big. In fact, while this is a large arbor, like every reel is a large arbor today, this arbor isn't even that huge. But because of that narrow width, it picks up line very, very quickly. And it's also got pretty reasonable capacities. With a 5-weight line, you can probably put 200 yards of backing, no problem, on this 5-weight. Heck, maybe you'll even use it as a 6-weight. Up next is going to be weight, and this tail is definitely on the heavier end of trout reels. I personally think this is way too much weight to put on one of my rods, but if you're Euro nymphing and you want to adjust that balance a little bit, this might work really well for you. And it's the same story for trout spay, where that weight isn't going to matter quite as much as it will on a single hand reel. On the other hand, if you're looking at this Gray's tail, you're probably not also in the market for a Lamson Lightspeed. And while this reel seems really heavy to me, if you're buying your first fly reel, this is probably going to be just fine. And it's definitely going to do a great job of getting you out on the water. Up next is going to be sound, and while this isn't the best sounding reel I've ever listened to, it's pretty good and definitely a solid sounding trout reel. And on the outgoing. And last but not least is ergonomics. And I would say this reel is okay in terms of ergonomics. This drag knob here is functional, but not amazing. You know, you definitely would want something bigger and burlier if you were fishing for bigger species, but for trout fishing, it gets the job done. And I'd say that's probably about the same for the handle. It's fine, it's comfortable, it's a handle. And before I close, I wanted to mention that this reel actually also looks really good. For 130 bucks, you're really getting a lot in this package. Sure, it's not the lightest weight reel out there, but for those Euro guys, and if you're trout spaying, this is gonna be a really great option at an almost unbelievable price point. Tell us what you think about this reel and any reel in the Grays lineup by leaving us a comment in the box below. And if you have questions, don't forget you can always give us a call at 888-413-5211 or email us 24/7 at support@tridentflyfishing.com. I'm Ben, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.